The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100, that's what we're talking about here today. As we jump into the Nasdaq specifically, we've been sitting basically in this range here for the past like 3-4 trading days, as you can see right here, maybe like closer to 3 right there, sitting in between 19.95 and lows of 19.7, pinballing. Now, if you ever broke below 19.7, we were looking for a continuation to the downside. Now, obviously, this morning, right, market opens up last night, right, kind of dipped down, dip, kind of bounce back down there at 19.7 and get a good reaction, finding buyers off that level, pushing back today above 19.95. That's where we're left off here on the Nasdaq. You go into ES, we look at a better picture here as well of S&P futures getting back above your level, 55.88, 55.89 locally, your previous all-time high you had back mid-June, right? Once you mount to that level, you went crazy. So food for context, what I'm looking at here. And just so you understand as well. Then we go into something like Dow, which has been one of the stronger indexes overall, stuck below its key level here at 40,700 or 709, right? Your previous little all-time high level here. You can even mark it all up here if you want it, 40,750, give or take. But it's still overall this area, as you can see there. So interesting that the strongest index over the past few days has cooled off and is, I would argue, weaker in comparative to some of its levels than the others, right? That's very important to understand. RTY, Russell, mid caps look like they're picking up again. They look really good, to be honest. It's probably the best looking index overall. Looks like it just consolidated, ready to push back up. So those are the big things right now. Now, I focus a lot and want to focus heavily on the Nasdaq because this is what 90% of the stocks you trade, most likely, or most of the traders here, trade in is Nasdaq stocks. Now, when we look at Nasdaq and tech again, this is your massive level, 19.95. I want to make that very clear. In between here and 20,270, there's not much. There's not a lot of liquidity, right? So really quickly, we pull up the VRVP, we pull it back. You can see, right, you have your POC right about here at 20,000, 19.95. But you get above that, it really drops off. And then as you can see again, so there wasn't a lot of liquidity that took us up or really that took us back down. So those are things to consider. Also, why I highlighted down here, you start losing 19.7, you can really see there is nothing from 19.7 down to 19.4. So if you lose that 19.7 level, I think it's like a Band-Aid getting ripped off. You're going to see it's going to be a little bit ugly, right? So things to be looking at right now. Okay, now going into the rest of this week, there's a few things that we need to discuss and be looking at. Now, we don't have a lot of inflation numbers. That's not going to be the big pull here, right? What's going to be the big pull here, and we can actually check out the calendar too, just to be on the safer. And again, when we look at this data here, you're going to scroll down and see there's not a lot happening. Here's some GDP numbers. Again, it's probably just going to continue to grow. The only thing that's going to be concerning here is your PCE at the end of the week. Okay, only thing that's interesting, PCE end of the week, that is actually your highest and most important inflation index. But we've seen CPI, PPI move in the right direction, right? So this is very important. End of the week. But the first 4 days, not a lot going on. Worth mentioning, it's going to be all eyes on what? It's going to be all eyes here on earnings. Because again, tomorrow on the after hours, you have Tesla, you have Alphabet, you have Enphase, you have Visa. These are big earnings, okay? And then going in, you have some big names as well for what's happening with even the Dow. You have GM, you have Coke, you have Lockheed Martin. You have a lot of names here, okay? And then you move into Wednesday. You have Chipotle, Ford, IBM's a bigger name here. ServiceNow's a bigger name. Those are names I would be watching, and that they will affect their sectors. Like ServiceNow will affect cloud and what's happening there as well. Like we've seen CrowdStrike get demolished. So things to be looking at and be looking forward to. Okay, so again, middle of the week earnings, end of the week Friday, you're looking at PCE, which will go more into that as the week progresses. Also, too, guys, I want to recommend, if you're not following, the Twitter link is down below. This is free. I post all day throughout the day. Tyler Wilson 119. Again, my charts, different stocks I'm looking at. I try to keep you guys as updated as possible, but literally it's either me trolling or me posting about stocks. The end. So I recommend tapping in because I try to keep you guys updated throughout the day at all points in time. Now, jumping back into the Nasdaq. Okay, I want to just go quickly into what we have to, and then we'll get into the good stuff, the stocks that we're liking. Now, number one, the dollar. This was something that was very important that we've been talking about, risk on versus risk off. It's worth mentioning, as of right now, the dollar is still rejecting at its 200 MA, right? Worth mentioning, 1, 2, 3, rejecting. Want to see continuation of the downside. It's been making lower lows each time it's dipped. After this, what's gotten bigger here? We go to the bigger picture of the US 30-year yields. What's happening with bonds? Back in its 200 SMA. You want to see this reject as well. Now, what I will say, this is still, and I want to make sure that I'm not being biased to just bullish, but you have been rejected so far off these levels, and we have to maintain what the trend has been. The bonds have been coming down. TLT yields have been coming down. We've also seen TLT trying to break back above its 200, breaking back up, right? You've been stuck below your 200 here basically on TLT where you couldn't really mount it, going all the way back to December 2021. So food for thought, what's happening here in the market, but it really looks like you've made a really safe landing down here, like you're trying to get some love back into 120, maybe even higher. But again, like 108, the smaller chance as well. Okay, so risk on, risk off, pricing and rate cuts most likely. Now, step further from this, okay, I want to be really clear. Now, I don't want to get political, so I want to make sure this is very like clear that I'm just worried about what's happening with the stock market and nothing else. Biden dropping out of the election. I think everything's going to favor Trump right now until we get whoever the elect is from the Democratic Party. And I think he's going to be in favor no matter what. Just as this progresses, this is a very short amount of time to, select a nominee. There's a lot of issues here. So I think it favors Trump in the short term, which sides with energy stocks, et cetera, which we saw, XLE break out and go crazy, pushing into like 94, kind of coming back now down to reality. But still, what I like to see there. That being said, I am concerned with the uncertainty that could be at play with the market. Worth mentioning. However, I'm not going into the market with a bearish sentiment at all. Someone asked over this weekend, like, Tyler, why don't you trade shorts ever? Now, if you have been here for a long time, I did trade shorts. I traded a lot of shorts. I would say the year of 2022, 70% of my trades were shorts or to the downside, right? During the downtrend. But something that I realized at a, early stage in trading was the trend typically is to the upside. What does that mean? 90% of my trades should be in the direction of the overall trend. Okay. Now I get here, you had like a little period of the pullback, made sense below your 200 estimate, etc. But you are clearly in a bullish trend. If I focused every week on trading shorts rather than trading longs, I would probably lose a lot of money. Just going to highlight that right now. So the one thing that I can do here is, statistically speaking, is over the past year, just in the market, a year and a half, favoring the upside has made you a lot more money than favoring the downside, no matter what anyone says. So that's why I'm focused more on going long right now, because of how the market is moving and continues to move, despite what everyone has said. So that's my focus, is being on the side of the trend, not being right first, but being right more often than not. So again, that's my focus there. Now we go back into the SPY and we look here as well. You had a fake break. Now I don't want to say a fake out, but you broke down and then you kind of gap back up over this 550 level. Looks good. By all means, it looks like a break, a retest, and like it wants to continue. I'm just going to highlight that. QQQ. A little bit more concerning. Not going to lie. A little bit more concerning. So we had our downside, what we were looking for here, kind of ended up playing out. I believe Nasdaq is lagging behind ES dramatically right now, but a little bit dramatically, about 1%, 2%, give or take. So I'm looking for Nasdaq to get bullish back above or Q's 487, which is the Nasdaq. That's where you really get strong. Worth mentioning there. Going into Nasdaq futures, yes, you held your key level of 19.95. That's awesome. But I want to see us get back above basically 20,400 locally. You get back above that level, even 20,270. I think there's a high possibility you're trying to push back into local or all-time highs. Okay, so break, retest, continuation. That's what you're looking for. What I want to encourage you guys, though, is just like in this range, not really a favorable. I do like this range back to the upside into 20,270, but I want to say something. Don't fall in love with the upside during this period, okay? You need to understand where you're at. This is a massive level. When you broke 20,270, you went straight up almost 700 points. What should that tell you? That, again, there's a lot of liquidity at this level. Past this level, there's not much, meaning you can move quick. So what do I want to do? I want to see a break and a retest of that level before I start to do anything. So again, laying out the roadmap, the trade idea, the plan overall of what I'm looking for. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have questions, comment down below. I'd love to answer them. Have some more stuff posted on Twitter as well. Also, too, guys, we're going to be going over some options as well. And I want to tell you right now, today we in Discord, Jay called out, in my opinion, what I think might be trade of, I don't want to say trade of the year, but it's highly likely. It has to do with NVIDIA. We'll talk about that here in a second. But I went pretty heavy into that trade. I'm not going to lie. So let's hop into some names here quickly. Number one, we'll start from start easy, move a little bit, scarier as we move along. Apple. I'm looking for Apple, and I've been waiting for Apple to come back down to 220. Again, break, retest, continuation is what you would like to see. That's the best case scenario, okay? I haven't started buying a lot of Apple yet. I will probably reload my entire position once we reach 220. I'm going to tell you that now. Now, I was buying down here like I was telling all of you guys. I said the January contracts for the 220s were free money. They went from $10 to over like $30 at highs. So congrats. So again, I like Apple, very bullish. Their earnings are coming up next week. Worth mentioning, I don't really think earnings trades are the move here, but I do think if you have long dated contracts, they're worth it. But again, I do like Apple. And again, if I'm looking at Apple, I'm going to be totally transparent. I'm buying probably the 220s once again just because I like them. I already have them. I'm happy with them. If I was going to go and buy anything else, it's kind of hard. Like if I'm looking at this, if I was going to go past like out of the money, like 240s, 250s, which I think is kind of crazy. I'm not going to lie to you. I would be going most likely like June of next year. I'm going to tell you right now. You just want to have protection on those contracts. You want to have time. You don't want to get decayed on them. So again, I would favor like the 250s most likely if I was going out of the money. If I was going for January's once again, I wouldn't stray too far. I'm going to tell you right now. I'd be looking more like the 225s, 230s max. And again, I'd be trimming half that position once those get in the money, and then moving on from there. But again, Apple, I like it. I love it. Short term, not super interested in like a short term trade. I think it's like the more long game with Apple and how they're going to win with AI and what they're already doing with them. Super excited for their numbers. I like that they've been quiet in regards to it. Now, I'm not going to make you wait too long for NVIDIA because I've been like really waiting. I think I've been really patient on NVIDIA. But let's talk about NVIDIA. Like I'm actually like a little worked up on this. And when Jay posted this in Discord today, I kind of freaked out. Now, I'm not going to go into exactly what we traded in Discord. I just think that'd be like kind of like cheap for those guys. But I'll go into overall what we're doing and why we're doing it. Okay. Now, overall, I think I don't want to say you're flagging. I don't want to say that. Like I don't want to. Like I think it might be a little bit biased. Maybe I'm seeing things. So I don't. But you look good. I want to highlight by saying that. Okay, you look really good. Why? Now, big picture here too. You're looking at previous highs there, and then you have a 118 level in here too, like on like the 2 hour. As you can see, we've talked a lot about this level as what 118 locally, like right around this area there, right where you gapped up, you held, and you shot up. Okay, and you touched, and then again touched again. That's where you're at now. Now you basically sat here from the 16th until today. Okay, 4 or 5 trading days. You're shooting back up. Now, NVIDIA, it's one of those names we talk about all the time, and it's like when you get the opportunity, it's scary. And I agree, it's a little scary down here, right? And people are like, it's a bubble, it's this, it's that. I believe they're going to continue to report great earnings. I believe, again, I've been saying it, 30 billion revenue quarters coming up shortly. And I think they're going to continue to shock and surprise. Personal opinion. Do what you want to do your own research, okay? For the time being, I still think there's a lot of upside here. I think right now, the play for NVIDIA is to have time. And I think Jay hit it right on the money. I'm looking for dated positions. You can go for January if that's something you want to do. I actually think January contracts are very affordable. I want to highlight that right now. You can go in the money near $100 for like $48. That's actually June's right here. Go back to January. One sec. Sorry. Lost it right there. But yeah, you can go to January's contracts and they're around $32, $33. Very cheap. Very, very affordable. Thinking on this right now, going to something like, locally when we were at highs on the 20th or 25th, these were around, let me zoom out. Sorry, I got to zoom out a little bit more. Let me make sure. I don't want to lie to you guys. I don't want to lie. So the 20th, when you were at highs, these were at $48. Food for thought. Now, if you run past 140, 150, they're going to go obviously a lot higher. Locally, 7-Eleven, the 11th of this month, they're at $44. So again, that's another 30% up from here. Again, you have a lot of time on these contracts. They're in the money. They're like a less stressful play. Now, I think you even get more value when you buy more time. Okay, like June contracts. I think these are really affordable. Now, you're probably not going to make as much money, maybe. Possible. You're not going to make as much. I'll side with you there. However, I still think the opportunity there is kind of crazy. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm a very big fan of where these are. $39 still, in my opinion, dirt cheap. I'd be looking at them. I'd be watching them. That's my personal opinion. And again, I think NVIDIA has a lot of upside over the next few weeks and months. Just pay attention to NVIDIA. That's all I got to say there. So NVIDIA, big fan. AMD, really interesting here. I don't know why I went to Google. AMD continues to hold your 200 SMA there. I loved AMD up here, but when you triple topped at 187, I was saying you got to mount 187. It was scary. And then you ripped the Band-Aid off and crushed my soul and dripped down to, Armageddon. So you're back down at the 200 SMA. This is interesting. You're still sitting at the 200 SMA going back to January 2023 is when you got above the 200 SMA. You held it ever since. It's been one of the greatest runs you've had on AMD's history, right? I still think it looks good, okay? Their earnings just aren't ever juicy. So I'd be careful going into earnings. Going to let you know that now. I still like, again, it's the same story though, guys. I like time here. Especially with something like AMD. You get this monster $30, $40 dip. Take advantage by getting time. That's what you want to do here, okay? You don't want to get stuck like begging for a bounce in the short term. Take your money. Be smart, guys. Don't be dumb here. This is not the move to be dumb, okay? For instance, the 150s near at the money contracts here, okay? On the 12th, we're worth $56 to $54. Worth mentioning, okay? They're at 33. Kind of insane when you really think about it, okay? So again, keep an eye on these semiconductors. And again, you're going to notice something here, like a lot of value. The biggest thing that I'll say, though, before I go into too many more names, okay, is this right here when it comes to earnings, okay? I can't predict what earnings are going to do. I can't tell you if tomorrow Tesla's going to come out, smash earnings, and the robo-taxis here, and Elon called me, and he said to buy. Can't tell you that. Now, I can give you some good breakdowns of inflation reports and what to expect there. But earnings, I really can't tell you. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm never confident when it comes to earnings. Anything can happen. That's my personal opinion. So be safe. Understand the risk that's associated with earnings, okay? And the volatility that can come. If Google misses really bad, I guarantee the market drops. Gonna tell you right now. Guarantee some instant selling across the Nasdaq and tech in general. I'm gonna let you know. Okay, so understand that. So I'm not the Oracle. I'm not the prophet. I like some of these names. I think you're getting value, and that's the ultimate thing here is looking for where you're getting more bang for your buck. Where am I risking $2 to make $10? And the risk is to maybe lose $1, right? That's the whole mentality here is where are you finding your risk? Where are you finding your risk tolerance? And where are you finding the best place for the opportunity in general, right? Not financial advice. You need to do your own research, okay? Tesla. Tesla's, I posted this on Twitter earlier. I'll be posting a lot of updates on Tesla over the next day or so. You can see your downtrend that's been here since basically the 11th of July. Okay, you've been moving pretty good. You broke out. You're kind of holding up. Earnings are going to be really interesting, okay? Robotaxi, I think Elon's going to talk about it. I think their sales are probably done pretty good. And then their autonomous products as well that they're working on. You probably need an update there because they started some of the manufacturing. So it's going to be interesting. Also, too, worth mentioning, the Cybertruck was the #1 selling EV truck in America, I do believe, for the past month. So very interesting as well. So Tesla does look good. I am not trading earnings. I want to let that be really clear. If it goes up and pumps, I missed it. If it dumps, I missed it. So again, how I view earnings at all points in time, there's no reason to get crazy. But also, you guys, I wanted to just say right now, like if you are on the channel and you're using a broker and you're not happy with it, I really recommend trying out Moomoo. The link is down below. It's who I use for all my trading. I post it on Twitter. I post it on TikTok, everything like that, guys. Again, you have every tool you can imagine when it comes to trading, news, the earnings calendar, everything like that. Again, my experience so far has been fantastic. Everyone that I've seen use it from Discord, from Twitter, they all love it. So make sure you give them a try, guys. Because again, I'm seeing people have like terrible nightmare issues with Schwab lately and these other brokers and Webull, and you're not getting good feels. Okay, I understand that, right? That's why I switched over. That's why I'm using these guys, and that's why I love the platform. I'll have an update for you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. If you have questions, comment down below. More trades coming. See you guys on Twitter.